Not my cupboard. Tonight, the force is strong, and we dine with the galaxy. So tonight we are dining Star Wars style. Yes, we are. Don't say no. I know you can't nod. You can only shake your head. Silly bastard. And anyway, you're in me bloody way, so you're going to move. Because I'm going to cook tonight a classic favourite at the Mos Eisley Cantina, a Dathomir Burra Salad. So, you're going off somewhere, go and find C3PO or something like that, and we'll get cooking. Now, although we called this a Burra Salad, we're going to start with these. These are Polta Beans. Okay, I've got 400 grams of these Polta Beans. They're basically, as you can see there, a round bean. And as it happens, these featured in the Phantom Menace, I think it's Phantom Menace? Yeah, it must have been, yeah. Where Shmi Skywalker entertains a dinner by feeding them, don't be rude, along with her young son Anakin. She feeds them a pan of these Polta Beans. When I say feeds them, well, that's a funny looking one. Oh, I know what that is. That's not one of the Polta Beans either, after all. She's feeding Qui-Gon Jinn and Queen Amidala and Jar Jar Binks. Now, we want a bit of texture in this slaw or salad. So what I'm doing is I'm just sort of partly mashing these. We don't want them all mashed up. We want some sort of relatively whole, some mashed up. So we get a mixture of textures in there. And by the way, R2 decided he couldn't be asked to go and find CP30, so he was going to sit there and watch. Now, obviously washing this down, Aldarian wine. It was a very luxury wine, an alcoholic beverage, obviously, from Alderan. And you've got various different types, not only just the red, but you get a white. Although the reds were a little bit rarer. Anyway, I digress. So, by the way, I moved everything up here so it's a bit easy to see. So, the next thing I want to do is I'm just going to move that off of there, because what I have here is a muja fruit. As you can see, it's sort of reddish in colour. Sort of reddy, sort of semi-orangey inside. That's a muja fruit. The muja fruit grows all over the place in the galaxy, on trees and bushes. And that's a typical muja fruit. So I'm going to peel that and dice it up. So that's the muja fruit all diced up. And then what I have here are Bastinian tang root. Okay. I've got sort of 4 sticks of them, and what I'm just going to do, I'm trimming the ends off. A bit of the old onion, the muja fruit peel. Whoops, slipped. I don't know. Just going to trim the ends off, And then we're also going to dice, well, I say dice it, we're going to cut that thinly as well. So there's no cooking involved in this dip. Well, there is, but part of it, there's one thing, and that's the burra meat, or the burra fish actually. That's already been pre-cooked. There's Bistinian tang root. Oops, dropping it everywhere. Well, that's a bit peeled, don't want that. This Bistinian tang root comes from Bestine 4, the planet Bestine 4. And although we're putting it in this sort of salad, it commonly would be found in sandwiches. Probably just to add a little bit of crunch to it. So I'm going to finish doing that. And then we're going to want the burra fish. Now, the burra fish comes from Dathomir, which is why this is a Dathomir Burra Salad. Okay, when cooked, it has this sort of browny, sort of beigey colour, and it's actually exported all over the galaxy in cans, as it happens. So there, I've got about 200 odd grams of burra fish. So that's going in there. And then all the diced muja fruit and the Bistinian tang root is going in there as well. Now, from the planet Endor, you know, where the Ewoks come from, are some acorns. Now you get green and you also get brown acorns. We've obviously got the green ones. And you've got about a tablespoon worth. And we're just going to chop them up. I'll tell you what, that Alderaanian wine is going down nicely. I've got a nice picture there of it. Not as in a picture, as in a photograph, but as in a jug. Okay, so we've just roughly sort of chopped them up, and they're going to go in there. And the final thing that we need to chop is this stuff. Now, this is silvergrass, sometimes known quite rudely as goat grass. Now, the old goat grass found actually some rather large stalks on that. We'll get rid of that. We don't really want them in it, do we? It's found growing quite extensively over the ground on Kinyan, the planet Kinyan. And you can't really see it in this, mainly because I think it's been picked. But when it's growing fresh, this green, although it's green, it has a bit of a silver sort of sheen to its leaves. But you can't really see that on this. So I think I've got most of the major stalks out. And what I'm going to do is I'm now going to chop that up. And that is also going to go in that bowl. So that's all in there now. And now is shura fruit. This is this bright yellow fruit. That is an exotic fruit, obviously. And in this case, what we want is the zest from the outside. Because that's where all the flavour of the shura fruit... Well, it is flavoursome inside, but we don't want the inside in it. We just want the outside, the zest. And actually, this was a favourite of Queen Amidala, who previously obviously had met Anakin when he was a young boy. But a little bit later, she actually presented him with her favourite fruit, the shura fruit. So, that's just about got the zest in there. And now, we're coming close to finishing this. But what we want is some Numian Cream. I've got about a tablespoon there of I just tried to think. I have. There's a bit of Palestinian tang on the floor. Disgraceful. Get rid of that. So the Numian Cream is a sort of sauce, although we only want a tablespoon of it, that was served to the stormtroopers of the First Order. And they usually had it as an accompaniment to their meat. But then in here, I've got about 125, 130 grams of Falumpaset cheese, which is quite obviously a soft, very soft, runny cheese. Okay, and this is created from the milk, obviously, from the Falumpaset, which is a mammal found on Naboo and elsewhere, but mainly Naboo, and it became domesticated by the Gungans, and they obviously milked them and made this Falumpaset cheese. But they also used them, because they were big, strong creatures, essentially to carry or to drag, if you like, heavy loads. And actually they feature quite prominently in the Battle of Naboo, where they're used to bring in the shield generators. So we're just about there now, but we just need to spice things up. So here I've got some Zinchari spice. So I'm going to have a little generous pinch of that. Zinchari spice is exactly what it sounds like, a spice, use a food additive. And we've also got some spongewort, which is dried, and now we're just grinding some up and adding that into it. It's often used as a garnish with, or an addition to meat. Right, that's just, now needs mixing, and then we're about ready to serve it. So that's our Dathomir Burra Salad finished, and you can eat it like it is, or you can serve it in sort of little cups made from this thing, a sharbot root, found on Corellia. Okay, and so all we do is we just take the ends off and we remove the outer leaves. We'll give them a little bit of a wash. Actually, that'll be all right. And then we'll be ready to have a little taster. And no, R2, you can't eat. You might be able to think you can, but you can't. So I'm just going to get these sharbot leaves rinsed and dried in my little sharbot root spinner, and then we'll have a little taste. So there is a bowl of our Dathomir Burra Salad. Let's have a little taste first, as is. Nice crunch from all that. Now I'll take a bit of sharbot root, and these aren't very big ones, these are like baby ones. So we just cut some in that. A nice crunch. Nice little bit of zing. You get the Burra fish. The force is strong with this one. Strong it is.